Hi guys, welcome back to another Matchbox Garage video. I'm Rob, and today I'm going to attempt to take this CJ6 Jeep from shabby to shiny. Now, I was looking at my several hundred Matchbox cars, and I don't know if anybody else is the same. I was looking at all of these cars and thinking, what am I going to do next that I haven't already done? I've got lots of pairs and triples and even quadruples, and I was having a look at all these cars, and one of my children come in and said, "Dad, this one's really cool, can you do this one for me?" And how can I resist? So we start by drilling down the centre of the post, removing the flange and tapping the hole. Now, what I would like to say at this point is a little reminder: when you do tap your hole, use some 3-in-1 oil or such, because I just managed to snap my tap in the hole. So now I've got part of a tap inside the hole, which is much stronger than anything else that I have, so it is staying put. Thankfully, this is one I did earlier, so we just put that to one side. Thankfully, it still has enough, kind of snap in it, so that it doesn't really need a screw. There you go, satisfying snap there. So we are good, but very annoying, and a new purchase to be made. So here's the base here. The wheels are a bit basic. Kind of axles are bent, so I'll be replacing the wheels for something a little bit more suitable. Interior, again basic, which it would be for this style of car anyway, but I'll be getting a little paint. I'll be trying to mould this steering wheel back. It's a bit bent, to be honest. I didn't want to put too much pressure on it, so I've took a little bit of the bend out of it, but not all of it. The canopy here was kind of, I guess, plastic rivet in place. Just a light drill out, and that come out, and that'll have to be glued back on. Now, this follows on from another restoration stroke Mad Max that I was just about to take on, and I didn't actually get to do it because it was a disaster. I had some paint left over, so I didn't want to waste it. We use it for this car. So the casting here into some boiling water, and we use caustic soda to remove the paint. 2 tablespoons does the trick. Well, it usually does the trick anyway. I found that on this one the paint didn't want to get off. Now, of course this was a red car, it's turned to pink. That kind of flicks off, not a problem, but certainly where it's a little bit more red in colour, which was under the canopy anyway, so it wouldn't have bothered me just to have left it as it was, but I still needed some extra attention. At this point also I noticed that there was a slight dip or bend, as you can see there, in the front, which was hidden by the canopy before, but I just lightly manhandle that so that it's straight later on. Now, I didn't want to kind of go in with a double dip. I thought, I'll get the rest of this off with my wire brush here. But unfortunately, it only took it down to around 95%. And 95% is not good enough for me. So we'll get up some of this spray paint remover. And with a liberal coating, so we just put this to one side whilst we work on the plastic pieces. So the interior and the canopy there's no glass in this, no windscreen, or at least there wasn't in my car, so I don't know whether there should be, but so that just goes into a little bath whilst I remove the wheels. And it read here Matchbox Superfast number 53 CJ6 Jeep 1977, but as you can see, just polished it up a bit. remove the axles and wheels. And we're going to be going with these more of a modern design here. Still a Matchbox wheel, but with some actual kind of tyre tread. There I just went with some of the kind of null oil just to blacken up the tyres, and then I put a bit of gold into the centres later. So here's the casting back out now. It's ready for a bit of primer. And I used the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer. Went with the white, just because it was to hand first. And I was noticing at this stage there was a few little issues with the primer, which I've very rarely had an issue. I think simply, although I washed, or I believed I washed all the paint remover from the casting under hot water too, perhaps I just left a couple of little contamination pieces there, and pretty much over the whole casting there was a few little kind of dots and pieces. But put it to one side, let it dry, rubbed it down with some wire wool, and just switched to the grey now, because I thought why not? I'll make sure that I cover anything that was white, plus just in case there was an issue with the white primer, which I'm sure there wasn't. Like I say, I must just have missed some pieces of the paint remover from the previous, but certainly this second time around come out as I expect, looking lovely jubbly. And then perhaps 15-20 minutes later, once it had dried off, and I kind of hold it over a radiator to bake it on quickly, switch now to the paint. Now I found that this paint I had to one side for probably half the day in a mixing pot that was in the open, no lid or anything, and it kind of almost turned to, I don't want to say gloop. It was almost like the thinner had evaporated from it, so I had to add another load of thinner to get it obviously through my airbrush. So this is just the first coat, and I applied about 3 or 4 coats and put it to one side. So here's the base with the wheels in position, a couple of little details painted in. Like I mentioned earlier, the centre of the wheels I painted with like a gold pen. And then with the interior, which of course was bright yellow, I first of all went over it, so that was the yellow that it was, and I went over the whole lot with a Humbrol enamel in a matte brown kind of finish, and then once that had dried, went with the Citadel Null oil, just to give it a little bit of kind of depth and character and realistic look. So quite happy with how that turned out. And also you'll notice just on the tow hook there, painted it in a bit of silver too. So now everything is basically ready to put back together. Got the canopy now back on the car, added in a few more details, headlights, front blinkers, rear number plate, a little reminder of what we started out with, and the result. I like this one. It was a request from my 7-year-old son, so this will be a little gift for him to trash. But I liked all the little details on this one. The colour, I think personally, considering it wasn't meant for this car, it was for another car, just made perfect sense for this style of car. Kind of make it almost camouflage, going through the forests, or maybe even over the sand, or whatever it may be. It's a kind of go anywhere type of car. Little winch on the front there, very cool. So I'll take this opportunity to thank my Patreons, Wheels and Things and Bearded Outcast, and of course thank you guys for watching, and fingers crossed you'll stick around for the next one.